Well, everybody, welcome to another edition of Redemption Capture the Flag. I am your host, Xenaero. Currently, we don't have our regular co-caster, Hey Daddy, who a little preoccupied, and we tried to fill in the co-caster role with a quick Craigslist posting, but it apparently didn't get finalized in time. So it'll be just me today. We're looking at a Week 3 matchup between Very Bad Mothers and the Net Boys. Both teams are looking to secure their playoff berth. A reminder, this league is a 4-week regulation period, so teams only have 4 matches to make it into the playoffs. Now, they're in a tough spot because they're both tied for third, but there is a margin of 5 to 10 points above them, and 5 points only will get you that is the equivalent to 1 2-round win. And for those people who are not familiar with the rules, got this little handy overlay here. Apart from the obvious, which is red and blue in a 3 vs 3 capture the flag setup, players can field any 3 players from their 4-man roster, which we saw on the previous screen. Rounds are to 10 minutes or 5 flag captures, whichever happens first. But there are no ties, so teams will play overtime rounds until they come away a winner. 5 points in the standings for winning 2 rounds. 4 points if the game goes for more than 2 rounds, and then you walk away a winner. 1 point for a 3-round loss, and 0 points if you get crushed, if you're shut out in 2 rounds. That being said, I have a little recap here for a game that was played on Friday, which we were unfortunately not able to broadcast at the time. So earlier this week, Friday, we had, and that is correct from Widower of Doom in the chat, no game has made it to round 3. Every game has been a 2-round victory or loss, depending on which team you're talking about. This Friday, we had a matchup between No Luck's Given and Frag Yourself. Both were league leaders at the time, which they both came out of Week 2 with a record of 2 wins, 0 losses. So they went head-to-head in an inevitable matchup where only one team could walk away the winner. And in this case, it was Frag Yourself in a 2-round victory. So for No Luck's Given, they fielded Ross, Amar, and Legion. And for Frag Yourself, Desperal, Stall, and Poto were the lineup. No roster changes between the 2 teams mid-round. Desperal himself walked away with 6 flags total, the highest of any player. Poto with 148 frags, the highest of any player. Both of them were for Frag Yourself. Total frags were 156 to 124 in round 1, and then 171 to 136 in round 2. Both favoring the winning team. So Frag Yourself lives up to their namesake, but they did all the fragging themselves, and that probably did a pretty good number on the defense of No Luck's Given, where the first round was 5-2, and round 2 was 5-4. So the second round was very, very close, and it was a game of inches between the 2 teams. Now, that means that Frag Yourself is 15 points up, and they're the first seed going into the final week of regulation. Every win they've had so far was 2-0 against their opponents, making them a very tough contender. No Luck's Given was given their first loss, but they're still sitting pretty at 10 points, and the second seed going into week 4. Teams are going to have to jockey for position as week 4 approaches, and a 2-round win here is critical to stay comfortable in the playoff race. A 2-round loss here could mean potential playoff shutout if the victor in the 3rd game this week between ORB and TWT goes on to also win 2 rounds in week 4. So that being said, let's talk about our teams today. Well, let's take a look at those 2 teams there. There we go. So as I said before, these 2 teams are at 5 points each, and they're only The other two teams at the bottom, the Oil Rigger Boys and Walking Toilets, are both at 0 points, but their match later this week could lead to one of them being at 5 points, which means if one team here loses in 2 rounds, if you're following me, they could be in a potential place to get shut out of the playoffs. So teams need every single point they can get during week 3. And well, yeah, we're looking at a pretty complicated playoff picture with only Frag Yourself guaranteed a playoff berth at this point. The map you're seeing right now is a time-tested classic, Heavy Weapon Dukes, authored by Chain Dude, as part of the Lazarus CTF map pack. And we'll give you a little flyover of the map here. I'm gonna pick one of these servers that these people are in, and we can watch some live gameplay. Hope you all are doing well on this Sunday, January 29th. We're at the end of January already. Alright. You hear it before you see it here on this broadcast. Syndrome takes a little bit to capture. We're currently spying on very bad mothers as they practice and get ready for the game. They're practicing against ACC, Poto, and Cerebral Commander, which I do not believe has a different alias. Some players like to not use their names. Let's switch off the players and give you a little flyover of the map, though. This map, taking up slot 40 in the Rampage CTF pack. You could describe it as linear, having a pretty straight, narrow path across mid where the BFG sits and into the other base, but there's so many other paths that are available to you. There's an upper path, which we're running along now. Armor is very helpful. Reduces damage. The green armor, in particular, reduces damage by 1/3. Very helpful for a runner. Health packs up here. And, of course, with jumping enabled, players can jump over across to either spot. Flag carriers are known to kind of hang on here if there's a standoff. The BFG is on a cooldown. I don't see it right now, but there is a switch that will appear, teleport players to the BFG, and then show back up here. BFG in a map like this with a lot of corners to initiate the tracers that come from the BFG 9000 can make this pretty good spot to clear out an entire middle for your flag carrier. Or if you're the flag carrier going for the BFG somehow, it could be a helpful tool to get you into your base. I have a question. Which team you think is favored on a map like this? It's tough to say. VBM was favored league-wide to be a stellar team. Skull Rush, Drangster, and Ninja Dog will be the team lineup this week, as one player is suspended. So, with Langrenus out of the picture, is VBM weaker? Tough to say. This map is what I would call a finesse map. It's not nearly a slugfest map like we saw in week 2. There's a lot of action that happens in the middle, but I would say you see more jousting in the middle than you do see players holding it. It's definitely not a solid threshold. Another route is getting back here. So you do have to cross mid to you're pretty exposed coming through mid through this route. A lot of lines of sight. I think I would want to say we'll see carriers kind of favor the upper route more. I mean, apart from the hard cover up top, it's tougher to intercept a player. We're approaching game time. Less than a minute to go. So practice will have to wrap up here. Then we'll jump right into it.
Blue flag taken. Blue flag drop. Flag returned.
For the final week, I'll have to put together a little scorecard of what the playoff picture looks like for the standings. Certainly after the game later this week between Orb and TWT, they'll be we'll have a much better picture of what I don't know what the tiebreakers might be. What if multiple teams are contesting the final spot in the playoffs? I don't know what the tiebreakers are. Might need to get in touch with a member of Rampage Management for an answer like that. And that might be a topic covered on the fantastic Rampage Redemption Radio. That will probably happen Tuesday. Might come down to point spread in matches too. It might be.
Blue flag taken.
Tiebreakers are always fun to do in a league because that means that teams are very competitive.
5-minute
And that's something you want in a competitive league. VBM is in the server. We're still waiting for DNB to show up en masse, which I think... Oh, I do count 3 players. I count Wiz, Infer, and Saltmine on their designated team. They'll be the boys in blue. And then Ed, also known as Dr. New, will be in reserve, it looks like. So they're going to be fielding Infer, X-Wiz, and Saltmine. Now, during Rampage Redemption Radio,
scores.
or Redemption Radio for short, perhaps, Ed was theorized to be a hot and cold player. Are they sitting him because he just doesn't feel up to the challenge today? Will we see a mid-round swap or a between-round swap for Ed to jump in? Only time can tell.
Blue flag taken. Dropped.
I gotta give the teams the go-ahead. They don't realize that I'm flexible. Goodness gracious. Waiting for a call vote to start round 1.
Blue flag returned. Blue flag taken.
And as is tradition, we'll be cutting messages just to avoid any unsavory language on this highly professional broadcast. For those watching at home, there is a link to the Discord where the league is organized, and there are many public games that happen. So if you're hankered for some Doom multiplayer, it's a pretty good place to be. Call vote happened, and we are looking at a restart for the game. Going to be getting into round 1. We'll start watching Infer. Clears himself going into the enemy base, picks up the flag. Both flags left the pedestal, back to Skull Rush, who has the red flag and grabs a bit of armor. We can't see values of the players, but we know that he just picked up 2 medkits. 50 health didn't help him too much. Flag got returned. He puts his face directly into a double barrel shotgun. Wiz is out with the flag. He might have coverage at mid. He passed by a team, returns his own flag. Thank you very much. And almost gets overshot from the flag for first blood for DNB. Skull Rush, however, grabs the flag and responds in kind, 1-1. A high-scoring game so far. We haven't even crossed the minute threshold. And it shows you how much finesse is required with this map. You can run end-to-end. You need some coverage, but there's more than one route available to you. It comes down to communication. You don't have line of sight to the entire map at one point. So a different approach is needed than week 2. VBM and DNB are trading blows. Watching Ninja Dog on defense for red. He seems to be not crossing the mid-threshold, dropping back to take out potential carriers. Skull Rush, however, has no mid support as a result. Ninja Dog forced to drop back to handle 2 players. His flag carrier was vulnerable.
Red flag taken.
The precarious balancing act of 3v3 CTF. Skull Rush having to contend with a defender spawned right on top of him. Assuming he's low on health, well, that includes 0 health. Flag is returned. Wiz out. taking the back route, but running into multiple red boys. The mid just wasn't clear.
Red flag taken. Blue flag taken. Flag returned.
Boyz has it back. He gets knocked back a bit by his teammate. Then a little boost at the end. 2-1 for DNB. BFG is out of the play. So good cleanup from DNB on mid there. And Boyz with a very clean run. Look for more of that. Boyz looking for the BFG, but there is a cooldown. I believe it's 30 seconds.
Red flag returned.
Skull Rush currently the only carrier up. Trying to make it through mid. He's got two players with him. Ninja Dog picks it back up and runs it the rest of the way. Good relay from Ninja Dog to tie up round 1.
Blue flag taken.
Skull Rush runs into his teammate, cuts his momentum, and that helps Wiz return the flag. Gotta be careful running into Doom Guy. This is not Quake where you have your speed up very quickly. Momentum matters a lot more in Classic Doom.
Blue flag taken.
Skull Rush hitting the corner. Does he have enough health to get away from his opponent? And a carrier up top, Infer, in fact, returns his own flag, which in that position, definitely better to trade flag returns rather than let your opponent in the base, and you still have to fight out of it. Salt Mine. Almost got out of the base, but lost a duel in the flag room. Drancer doesn't even get to the flag. Skull Rush. I switch over to him and he's already dead. Game is moving fast now. Both teams' defense is pretty sharp. They don't want to allow the carrier any room to move like X-Wiz does right now. Got one player up top. Uses that hard cover to kind of shield himself. Ooh, cuts back across and gets underground. Now they need the flag returned, but he gets spotted. Ooh, a little hidey hole with a medkit. Does VBM know where to look? Oh, definitely spotted there. Through a vantage point through the grate, and protects himself from not one but two as his team returns the flag and scores 3-2 now. We're past the halfway point in round 1. Drains are out. It's one, but there's another one behind him. Skull Rush with another touch. Intercepted. Let's take a look at the frags rather. Ninja Dog topping the leaderboard with 42. The next highest is 34 on the other team. Ninja Dog proving his sharp aim once again. Carriers lock eyes down the corridor in the blue base. And Skull Rush almost gets all the way back, but the carrier slips away from him. It's returned, but that is enough time for the rest of DNB to swoop in. But Salt Mine returns his flag, and he starts a run back to his base. Tracer almost makes it all the way back. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of carrier fights happening. Very common theme on this map, carriers will often engage in combat as they cross paths in one of these outer routes, I would probably call them. Either upper or in the back hall. Infer almost makes it all the way back, and then Wiz carries it the last foot or so. And that's the one that matters, 4-2. DNB looking good in the first round. Infer denies armor to the enemy team in the flag room, which is important. Even if you're not going to make it, grab that armor. That's less armor for the enemy team.
Blue flag taken. Red flag
BFG has not seen a whole lot of play so far. I'm not sure how many BFG kills we've seen. BFG holder usually is a prime target. as soon as somebody grabs it.
Blue flag taken.
Little tricky jump attempted by Infer.
Blue flag taken.
Drankster picks up the flag mid, but then it gets finally returned. Yeah, if you're going to try to muscle your way across mid here, you better have some good fire support.
Flag taken. Flag dropped.
Players these days are sharp enough of a shot now that multiple people in mid is going to require your team to help you.
Blue flag taken. Red flag
Oh, Infer running into too many players. Back Infer with a respawn and a boomstick return.
flag taken. Red flag taken.
Ninja Dog is out, contending with 1 and then 2.
Flag returned.
That's too many.
Flag taken.
Infer running into Ninja Dog and it gets dropped.
Red flag returned.
A lot of touches. I would love to see a total amount of touches on a game like this.
Flag returned.
Flags are almost never at the pedestal. Infer refreshing his health a little bit. We know he's at 100, but he has no armor to help him further.
Blue flag taken. Blue flag dropped. Blue flag returned.
Good return from DNB, but that time they spend in their base is less time spent in other areas of the map or helping the carrier or establishing control over mid. Drains are trying to make a run for it, weaving and dodging, but too much time spent in the line of sight at mid.
Red flag taken.
And it gets gunned down eventually. Salt Mine with an attempt, supported by a teammate.
Blue flag taken.
They just need to return the flag, and they're good for a shutout here.
Flag returned.
Nope, no early end to round 1.
Red flag taken.
VBM is going to have to work really hard to tie this match up. There's enough time if they get a back-to-back capture, but that's going to be tough.
Flag dropped. Flag returns. Blue flag dropped. Blue flag returned. Red flag taken. Red flag dropped. Red flag returned. Blue flag taken. Flag taken. Blue flag
Watching
dropped.
Infer, all eyes on Infer to close out round 1. Gets a good shot off the first blast, but misses the second, and the flag is returned. 10 seconds left, no time for VBM to come back for the first round.
Returned. Flag returned.
That'll be it for the first round. DNB going up 1-0. And to note here on the intermission screen, I mean, frags do not seem too far apart. Seems VBM was not able to escort their carrier in a timely manner. Round 2 is underway. 1 round favors DNB at this time. A 2-round win will get them 10 points total on the standings and in good position for a playoff shot going into week 4. So they're definitely, time's a wasting. They want as many flags. They want to shut out VBM as soon as possible. Is stamina going to be a factor here? Too soon to say. Skull Rush looking for a flag route out. I actually thought he was in his base for a second. Wiz unable to get across. Little BFG. Can he get out of the trap up there? And some BFG work. Clears out mid. Good work from the BFG by Wiz. Unfortunately, there was no carrier to take advantage of that.
Blue flag dropped.
Again, it shows timing is everything in coordination with your team on this match.
Flag taken.
Skull Rush might be home free.
Red team
And
scored.
first blood this time goes to VBM. Momentum on their side for the time being. Salt Mine looking to respond. Flag is dropped, and BFG work helps VBM return their flag. Skull Rush is out. That's 2 players behind, and his team covers him with exceptional super shotgun work. 2-0 now for VBM.
Red flag taken. Red flag dropped. Red flag returns. Red flag taken.
I don't believe Ed subbed in, so no, there were no roster changes.
Flag taken. Blue flag
VBM
dropped.
just
Flag
on a
taken.
tear right now.
Blue flag returned. Blue flag taken.
We're getting spawn fragged a bit by Dranzer. Missed the jump once and then twice. No med kicks for you.
Red flag taken. Blue flag dropped. Blue flag returned.
Spotted across mid. Body blocked by his teammate. No.
Blue flag taken. Red flag taken. Blue flag
Skull Rush intercepted at mid. The red flag is still in the base and comfortably returned by Ninja Dog. If you're DNB, what are you thinking?
red flag taken. Red flag dropped.
You won by a margin of 2 flags, but now you're down by that margin going into round 2.
Red flag taken.
Are we looking at a change in strategy?
Flag taken. Flag dropped.
Boyz still on offense. And the flags are down. He's going to go for that flag precariously placed on that slope. Oh no, he does pick it up, and it looks like he gets out. Hiding for a second to throw off the enemy team. He has a teammate at mid. Helps him get away. Oh! And shot midair. But returns their own flag too.
Flag taken. Red flag taken.
Pretty intense low segment. Carrier on the run. Dranzer and Infer have the enemy team's flags. Dranzer doesn't want to move from his low spot right here. Pretty well obscured except for that one spawn. If I had a Metal Gear alert noise, this is where I would play it.
Flag returned. Blue flag taken. Red flag taken.
Dranzer and Infer.
Blue
Infer
flag
picks up
dropped.
green. But can he outpace the enemy team right here? There's one player behind him. Too much to deal with. Dranzer with a little, a little mouse shake there. Spinning in circles. Infer is all the way back, but it gets returned. Skull Rush waiting in the base, moments from the pedestal. We're approaching the halfway point in the second round.
Blue flag taken.
No flags scored by the Boyz.
Returned.
Are we looking at a shift in momentum?
Blue flag taken. Red flag taken. Red flag dropped. Red flag returned. Red flag dropped. Flag returned. Red
We
flag
have seen over the years in many competitive leagues where one team will have a strong showing in the first round,
taken.
and then something happens. They just aren't able to keep up that pressure, that momentum going into the rest of the game.
Flag taken.
We might be seeing the league's first
Flag
3-rounder,
returned.
or 4-rounder, or 5-rounder.
Red flag taken. Flag taken.
It is a best of 3, but there are the emphasis on best because there are no ties. So we could be potentially looking at a multi-round game.
Blue flag taken.
Dranzer has the flag now, but I believe he's wounded. Tough to tell. Picks up 2 medkits, so he needed that health badly, but he didn't have armor to help him either.
Flag taken.
Dranzer picks it back up, but now it's finally returned. Infer goes out through mid, can't get the one shot, and he's gunned down. It's been very tough for DNB to get a carrier across mid. They've only had a couple times where they have been able to get it to their podium. Carrier's in combat, and it's picked up by Ninja Dog and secured in a 2v1 blitz in the back halls. But Infer, in all that mayhem that happened in the back part of the map, is able to grab the flag and carry it home. Now 3-1.
Flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag returned.
Waste out to mid, but body blocked, and that body block absolutely cost that flag.
Blue flag taken. Red flag taken. Blue flag.
Dranzer making a run, but shot down. I didn't see what killed him. Must have been low on health. Oh, rocket cover work from Skull Rush. And he is trying desperately to hold on to this flag in his flag room, but it gets returned by Wiz. The carrier in for very close to his base, but doesn't know where Ninja Dog is. Oh, now he does. Up top. Oh, and the DFG work returns that flag. Ninja Dog desperately trying to get out of harm's way. I think he's being shot by his teammate. Oh, it's returned just feet away from the pedestal. Another carrier standoff. Skull Rush, oh, found out. Very close to his flag. Teammate drops back to help, but looks like he's okay for now. Great one shot from Skull Rush. And the carry salt mine. Was that salt mine? Oh, Wiz was also spotted on his screen. Collapsing on the enemy carrier. Wiz dropped. Skull Rush. Flags are back at their pedestals. 2-minute warning. If DNB doesn't get their act together soon, they're looking at a third round.
Red flag taken. Flag dropped. Flag returns. Red flag taken. Red flag returns. Red team scores.
And that's 4-1 for VBM, showing that yes, they can absolutely play without laying on their roster.
Blue flag dropped.
Infer has a promising run, but intercepted in that very vulnerable brief window of time where you have to cross over on the upper path. Skull Rush hurt, brought down in the back, but that leaves VBM able to try to run it out through mid, but that didn't work. Flags changing hands pretty rapidly there. Infer trying for another run. Ooh, runs to all three, and all three players of VBM who opted to hold back and return their flag. Wiz is now waiting for the flag to be returned. Sees the carrier, but might be low on health himself. Blue flag is returned. And good job from DNB to collapse on the enemy carrier, who just sat there in the base. Can't be doing that. But it might be too little too late for DNB. 4-2. I mean, it's possible. If they score this and get another run really fast, can happen. But Dranks are... Oh! Intercepted by Wiz in a last-second return. But we are still looking at a third round. The first in the regular season. Good job from VBM to tie it up. And that will be the topic of talk in the league for sure. Our first third round game. After 20 minutes of mayhem, both teams must be feeling a little bit of the wear and tear of such high octane gameplay. Will the momentum from VBM in round 2 be enough to put them over the edge in round 3? Will DNB be able to secure an early lead and shut out VBM? Looks like Skull Rush might be scoring the first capture, and he does. First blood goes to VBM, setting the tone for this tiebreaker round. Infer and Dranks are out. Dranks are up top, unable to secure the kill. Infer is out through mid. He's got two teammates behind him. He's going to need that fire support. And the flag is returned by the carrier Skull Rush. A great move to prevent DNB from tying it up. Infer doesn't make it to the lift. Takes a little bit of damage as a result, but loses something more valuable, time. The more time you spend in that base, the more time the enemy team has to shore up their mid, prevent you from crossing.
Blue flag taken.
Skull Rush goes up top. I'm not sure if he's been spotted. He has, but he managed to defend himself while Ninja Dog defends the flag, and VBM is now up 2-0.
Flag taken.
But remember, even if DNB does lose, they get 1 point on the board for their total standards. Just pushing it to 3 rounds ensures that both teams walk away with points, and that's very important in a potential playoff, tight playoff race in fourth. VBM up by only 1 flag, so DNB still has life left in them. And a 1 flag margin is not much when you have 7 minutes and 30 left on the clock. Great return from Dranzer. Teammates not covering behind. Ninja Dog posting up in his base, waiting for carriers. And Infer takes him out, but runs into yet another player. And it's going to be tough for him to cross that way. Some BFG work in the middle, but BFG is now out of play very quickly.
Blue flag taken.
Again, very high priority target once the player has BFG.
Red flag returns. Flag taken. Red flag taken.
Oof.
Red flag dropped.
Lots of touches, lots of returns. Not a whole lot of carries crossing mid. Tough map, requires a lot of coordination.
Red flag taken.
Infer with a good shot. Has to contend with a player on the other side of the divider. Gets a great 1 shot off, but is taken out at mid.
Flag taken. Red flag taken.
Ooh, grabs armor, jumps back up, then jumps back down. Tries to outmaneuver the enemy team, but in the meantime, that flag is returned, and VBM puts another one up on the board. 3-1 in the 3rd round. Oh no, Salt Mine kind of body blocks his teammate, and it's returned for VBM. Dranzer has the flag now, but there's too many players at mid who are waiting for him.
Blue flag taken. Red flag taken. Blue flag dropped. Flag returned.
Boyz grabbed armor and is looking for a route out of the base. Takes out 1, takes out 2. Kicks body blocked again. Oh no.
Red flag taken.
Skull Rush has the flag in his base. It needs to be returned. And the carrier himself returns his own flag. Tries to find his way out of the base, but can't get the 1 shot off on Dranzer, who returns it for VBM. Still 3-1, 5 minutes left. A lot of time for them to work it. A lot of time. But DNB needs to cover their carrier. There's a lot of firepower in the VBM roster. All very good players in this match.
Red flag taken. Blue flag returned.
Infer making a run. There's a mid spawn from VBM directly behind him, and he's got enough coverage and had enough distance to make it all the way to the pedestal. 3-2. 1 flag between the 2 teams. Skull Rush looking to respond. Looks like good coverage from his team. And they were able to take out the enemy behind him. Now 4-2 for VBM. 1 flag capture away from taking this match in week 3.
Flag taken.
Dranzer hopping in between and looks to get the next shot off, but can't get it out in time. There is a BFG up somewhere. Ooh, Skull Rush hit by the BFG tracers and returned by DNB, who are aggressively clearing out the red base. But he's returned by Skull Rush. Dranzer dropped by Infer.
Blue flag taken. Red flag
Skull Rush
taken.
again. Getting across pretty clean. Grabs, I think he grabbed that med kit, just kind of tapping it a little bit. Little plasma bump action. Skull Rush looking to hide for the time being. Wiz doing the same, trying to restock up, but the flag is dropped up top. Now Skull Rush can make a play to try to shut out this game. And it is not going to go that easily for VBM.
Red flag taken.
But pressure is mounting, less than 3 minutes left for DNB to come back. And VBM is not letting up on the pressure. Carriers meet in the back hall of the blue base, and it's returned in VBM's favor. Get a little bit of health. He's got a teammate down there who helps clear him out. Slows his momentum just a little bit, but gets that clear from his teammate. Too many players on top of Ninja Dog, and that flag will go down and get returned.
Red flag taken.
Hesitation will get you killed on this map for sure. And Infer, Wiz picks it up. Infer carries it most of the way, but Wiz will take it the final stretch, covering his teammate, clearing it out, and picking it up for a successful flag cap. 2 minutes left. They can make it happen. They have what they need. They just need to prevent VBM from capturing this last flag.
Red flag dropped. Red flag returns.
It's been returned. Drancer is across. He's got a really good route. And it's returned by Wiz, who drops down from up top. Pivotal return. Infer gets it to mid, but no further. A very hard-fought game from both teams, who need every point they can get to secure a playoff berth. Infer with a tricky route, but runs into some geometry and gets his momentum dropped. Oh no. That's a heartbreaker. 1 minute left. Infer with another touch. He's got a chain gun. And it's picked up by Salt Mine and carried the rest of the way. 4-4.
Red flag taken.
We're at sudden death, baby. Ninja Dog in his base. It's very critical that Ninja Dog does not lose this flag. But he gets dropped from behind by Salt Mine. Wiz clears out in front of him, but not behind him. Skull Rush with the enemy flag. Very patiently pulled shots. The flag's returned in a tough spot for anyone to pick up. Drancer going out back. Return. Salt Mine. Across mid. He's got teammate behind him. But they don't have the flag returned. Where is Skull Rush? He has made it into the back hall of his own base. And secures himself a little bit of breathing room. A little bit of rocket work. Try and prevent an enemy from getting up to him. And the flag's returned. And it's a draw game! Oh my god! What? The man was inches from securing the win for his team. Oh my god. Hate is gonna hate. Hate will hate that he is missing this match. We're going into round 4. It is tied. The first overtime round we have had. Incredible showing for both DNB to narrow that gap to 0. And man, VBM almost had it. What a heartbreaker. Infer, however, first blood for DNB. Is that indicative? Is VBM running out of steam? Whew. Drancer picks it back up through mid, but it's returned by DNB. Skull Rush. Looking for... Oh, he's getting hit in the back by a boomstick. He is absolutely low on health now. But all he has to do is get across mid. And it's intercepted. Took a little bit too long. Ninja Dog gets it all the way home. Tied up 1-1 in the opening minute of round 4. Ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at a hell of a game in week 3.
Red flag returns. Flag taken.
Drangzer has the flag going out to mid, gets 1, does not get 2.
Red flag taken. Red flag
A point to note here is that the BFG has not been overly critical in securing any sort of flag captures or flag defense. It does help in clearing out mid, but you really do have to time it very closely in order for it to help your carrier or to help your defense. Very limited time with a BFG in your hands.
flag drops. Flag returns.
Wiz, I don't know. I wonder how much health Wiz has right now. That's going to determine how he approaches this run. Skull Rush has the flag. I don't think he's left the base. He has not. But members of VBM are all over that base. And Wiz might be able to get a capture here. His teammate was not in a position to cover that hallway, but he wasn't needed. Wiz now putting it up 2-1. Infer might make it 3-1. Oh my god, what a pickup from Wiz. And it is 3-1. Back-to-back captures from DNB. Sending a message to very bad mothers. Skull Rush just gotta get out, man. He has to make this run happen. Being down 2 flags in such a short amount of time has to hurt your morale. Wiz. He's got armor. How much armor? Well, not enough. That's for sure. Drangzer with a great return. Wiz going for that time-limited BFG. But does not get to use it. Infer taking a top route, dropping down for armor. Gets stopped on the edge of that doorway, and that is enough for Skull Rush to return the flag, preventing more bleeding. Drangzer facing down, a member of DNB can't get the one shot. It's returned by Wiz.
Red flag taken. Blue flag taken.
You're gonna need that green armor, Infer.
Returned.
A little bit of health. So he was wounded going in. His teammates are covering behind him, but I don't think they know that there's one behind, following him in his footsteps. Can't get the one shot returned by Ninja Dog. Skull Rush in the back hall of his base. And Wiz waiting behind the flag for Skull Rush to drop and returns it. What a psycho. Playing with fire there.
Blue flag drops.
Blue flag returned, and Salt Mine is clear for 4-1. DNB turning this match on its head. First tying it up in the final seconds of the 3rd round. And they're not looking a gift horse in mouth for sure. That tie giving them the fuel to come back. 4-1, man. That's quite a reversal. DNB looking very strong. But the match isn't over. 5 minutes left is a lot of time. We saw VBM lose their lead slowly. And the same could happen to DNB if they're not careful. VBM pretty much dropping to a full BFG wipe. Infer has 1 to contend with, maybe 2. Ninja Dog returns it moments away from losing the match. Skull Rush looking pretty clear for the time being, but there's a lot of boys at mid. Intercepted from Infer.
Red flag taken. Blue flag dropped.
Eyes are on Infer right now.
Blue flag taken.
Got health and armor. Great return from Infer, and that might be it. Oh, Ninja Dog swipes it out from underneath Infer to keep the match alive. Oof. What a save. That needs to be on the Ninja Dog highlight reel. But saving it won't be enough. They need 3 flags to push it to a 5th round. So eyes are on Drangzer here. He needs to get across. Gets dropped. Both flags returned. Skull Rush? Oh, come on. You need this. Coverage from his team is there, and they are able to narrow the gap from 3 to 2. We are in double overtime. DNB is up by a margin of 2 flags. 3.5 minutes left. VBM slowing the bleeding. Improving they still have some life left. Dranks are avoiding the PFG for the most part, but it is returned finally. But that opens DNB up to a run from Skull Rush. Great shot from Wiz to return it. Salt Mine might be across. A little bit of momentum slow from the body block. And Dranks are with a return. Oh, he didn't return it. Oh, Wiz picks it back up and captures it. That will be it. Whew. That was a hell of a game. Not only the first game to go 3 rounds, but the first game to go 4 rounds. That was a hell of a match from the Net Boys, who fought hard, and thanks to a very fortunate tie in the 3rd round where VBM was unable to convert that capture, they went to a 4th round where DNB secures it and puts the very bad mothers away. Hell of a game. It'll be absolutely the talk of Redemption Radio coming next week. Don't believe we have a time set, but that will be a hot topic. If you're curious about when that might be, there's a Discord link there. Look for the announcement, but this was a hell of a match. Coming up later this week, we don't think we have a time for the 3rd game due to some team members falling ill. But that final game between Orb and TWT has not been scheduled for week 3. But that'll do it for the time being. That is a man. What a game. But that'll be it. I mean, that puts the Net Boys 4 points up due to a multi-round win. I don't really know how to phrase it, but if it's more than 2 rounds, but you still win, you get 4 points. So they'll be looking at 9 points, and Very Bad Mothers will come away with 1 point, so they'll be at 6 points total. That puts the Net Boys 3rd in the standings so far. And that'll be a pretty safe 3rd going into week 4. So that is what they needed to stay alive in the standings, with 1 more week left to go to decide who is going to make it to the playoffs. Thank you to everybody out there today who has shared a little bit of your precious Sunday with us. Hope you enjoyed what you saw. That is the kind of game that we are all about here in competitive Doom 2. Love to see it. Hopefully VBM will rally back in week 4. Stellar lineup, stellar attempt on a map that produces some incredible games. That being said, keep your eyes open for more games for week 4. This is Xenaero signing off. Have a good rest of your weekend, everybody.